All right, and we're live. So,
Yay!
hi, friends. Hi, Annette. How are you, friends?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so excited to have this discussion with you today for sure. Let me just edit my privacy on Facebook because what I learned this weekend is the streaming service that I use automatically sets it locked down. So everybody should be able to see this now, which is super, super exciting. So Annette, make sure that's good. We're good to go. And then we'll kick it off. All right, you good to go?
I think so. I mean, I changed my privacy setting to public, so hopefully
Here
everyone
we
can
go.
everyone
All
can see.
right.
All right, great.
So So for those that don't know me, Annette's friends, hi, I'm Stacey Short. I'm a transformational life coach, and I help women struggling with exhaustion due and indecisiveness and loss of identity due to putting everybody else ahead of themselves. And so they feel anxious and overwhelmed and frustrated and probably a little pissed off. And today I've got my beautiful friend and peer, Annette Rodriguez. Annette, introduce yourself. What do you do? Who do you help?
Well, I am what you call a spiritual life coach, and what I do is I help women that are struggling with just everyday negativity. Whether it's coming from individuals, whether it's just coming from life, just banging on them every day. It's just to help them get out of that rut, that negative, what I call stinky thinking, and getting them to switch that thought process into something positive, and for them to connect with their inner spirit, like inner wisdom. So I kind of switch that thought process of the negative into creating, and coming from and listening to your inner spirit, your inner wisdom.
I love it. I love it. Um, Tell the people, Annette, how you got into coaching.
Okay, so in June of 2019, I lost a very lucrative job. In fact, that's what, I think the Lord has been, or, I call him the Lord, people call him, whatever, the universe, whatever you want to call him. I've been hearing from him for years now where he says, you need to start, mentoring and coaching because I'm really good at that. So, I held off. And in 2019, when I lost that job, I really lost my identity. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was really struggling at that time because of COVID hit. Wow, COVID hits, I think 5 or 6 months later. So it was just hard to find a job. And it got me to thinking that this was an opportunity because I believe that when my gut tells me that I need to create something different because what I was doing wasn't sustaining me, wasn't supporting me, as I'm talking about, like, knowing that I always have that corporate job. So what I decided was, I'm going to start coaching. That's what I've been doing for over, I would say, 25 years. I've been mentoring, coaching women in my corporate career. So I said, why not? Let me just create my own coaching business. So that's what I did. That's what I set off and started doing.
And you got certifications. You're not just a fly by night coach. You actually invested in your education, didn't you? Talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. So pretty much, I went to during the time of COVID, I actually completed my bachelor's degree in servant leadership. But there's also other, certifications I've completed. I have, certification and, college education in, psychology, formats and other things. Mentoring. I've gotten certified through my church for counseling. So I have a lot of certifications that yeah, that I use in my everyday coaching. Absolutely.
Awesome. Amazing. What would you say your favorite part of coaching is?
Getting to know the people I coach. And I got to be honest, I'm all about transparency and being authentic. So, when people, if you ask any of my friends, they'll say, if you ask them, tell me what kind of person Annette is, they'll tell you she's the real deal. She don't hold any punches, but she does it in love. She makes sure that you are safe and protected. but she doesn't sugarcoat anything. She'll tell it to you real. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that to be true. So let's talk about why we named this this live stream, Finding Resilience in Faith After Abandonment. What does that title mean to you?
Well, as I shared about, losing my job in 2019, it was like one thing after another after another. So losing my job, almost losing my home, the home I live in, almost losing the car that drives me to my appointments. I didn't have enough food on the table. I mean, I was struggling. And I mean, I can share much more other things that have happened to me in the past. I'm a survivor of September 11th. I was facing foreclosure when I first purchased my home. So there's a lot of things that I have dealt with, a lot of negative stuff and it was piling. And recently I just had a heart procedure even now, like, where I live now, like the rent was increased by $300 and it just keeps going and going and going. And what I realize is I tend to have what I call I release negative energy. My way of releasing negative energy is I have a crying party. So I'll cry about it, kind of deal with the emotion because God gave us emotions and feelings for us to use those, but to use them in a way that propels us forward, not to keep us stuck. So for me, resilience is, even though I've dealt with all those tragic things in my life, I always come to center my inner wisdom. That inner wisdom, who I say is God, tells me in my gut, okay, this is the next step you take, right? And the resilience, that's the resilience I created in faith, right? It's when bad things happen, I take the emotion, I I receive it, I process it, I let it go, and what's the next step? My friend the other day said to me, one thing I love about you, Annette, is that you take the emotion, you work it out, but then you're in action. You've always been in action. You are a very resilient person. So I believe that resilience comes from not staying stuck in the negative, but processing that negative and finding ways and listening to your inner wisdom to move on that track to where you're supposed to be, because you have a power. Every woman, man has an inner power that they need to tap into, and some people lose that tapping into. And that's my coaching. It's finding that way back, that path back, to get back to that path where you're tapping into that power that was instilled in you when you were born.
How can somebody tap into that power if they maybe haven't seen it in a long time or haven't experienced it in a long time? How do they know it's even still there?
I would say that they always know it's there. It's like a gut feeling, right? It's like a gut feeling. It's like you have this feeling that it comes in. I call it a gut feeling, but it's an overwhelming feeling you get. And it's like you have two choices. Do you go with what that gut feeling is telling you to do, or do you ignore it? So really, to tap into that, that power, is you have to listen to your inner spirit, that inner wisdom. Because if you don't tap into that inner wisdom, then you're going to keep on that path of not understanding, being confused, being angry. So that's how I believe that people tap into that inner spirit, is knowing that inner power, is knowing when your inner wisdom is talking to you and what you do with it. That's how you
Yeah.
tap
So
into it.
talk about that for a little bit, because what I know to be true is I know, and the people that I've coached or have encountered in my life, they don't understand what the difference is between their inner wisdom and negative, like a gut feeling of anxiety, of like, no, don't go there. So they really don't know if it's negative self-talk or if it's their gut feeling. How would you teach somebody
Yeah.
what the difference is?
Yeah. So the difference is that if you have this negative self-talk, that's not coming from your inner wisdom. That negative talk is coming from, I'm going to say, from your mind, from past experiences, from childhood traumas. that negative thought process that you're feeling, that you might think it's an inner wisdom, it's not. Now, wait. So if you are crossing the street and there's a bus coming and you feel that negative energy, you know you're not supposed to cross the street. That is coming from your inner wisdom, your inner wisdom. Whereas if you have a thought process where I'm not good enough, that is not coming from your inner wisdom. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
What's something that surprised you about when you were learning in your coaching certifications and all of that stuff? What's something that surprised you about this industry?
I would say what surprised me is how this industry is so vast. I mean, I have a coach. Stacy's one of my coaches, but I have other. I have another coach, and I gotta say, what I've learned is the vast differences of coaching and the way the community comes together. Like it's a community. Like these are coaches helping coaches without asking for anything. These are this is a community of people that actually care about humanity. And it's not all about the money sign, right? That's what I was very surprised that it's not about the money sign. It's about I want to help you. And of course they need to get paid, of course, right? But it's the authenticity that I have learned that it's not all about the money. It's about these are coaches that really want to help people get to the next level of their life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Kip, thanks so much for the heart. You know, I love you, girl. I'm so glad that you're watching this. Um, I don't know, Annette, tell tell me about life before coaching and then life after coaching.
Yeah, so life before coaching, I would say I was definitely a business leader. It was all about business for me, making that money, living that life, buying those designer bags and those designer shoes and the designer cars. And I got to tell you, after losing that job, that was pretty much almost, it was pretty good. And losing that money that I was making, I got to say, humility kicked in for me big time, right? I realized that I've had a wonderful, even though through all the trials and tribulations that I have had in my childhood, in my adulthood, it has brought me to this place where I know what it is to be a good human being and not waste time on that materialistic stuff. I really want to make a difference now compared to then. It was all about me then. It was all about my desire. And not, don't get me wrong, I still have desires, but they've changed because I have more humility about me and I've learned more about myself. But back then it was all about how can I look better than it's the truth. How can I look better than the next person? How can I look cute? You know, that's not me anymore. Now for me now I would say that was even though I didn't realize at the time that wasn't the authentic Annette. Yes, I had fun, but now this is the authentic Annette because Annette now is more about loving people, putting, not only putting people in my path that I can help and serve, it's just different. It's no longer about money. Now it's about serving. And that's the
Yeah,
difference for me now. Yeah.
for sure. For sure. Absolutely. The more I get into this, the more I just want to serve and not, I mean, the abundance will come. I'm not worried about being taken care of or charging an arm and a leg, but yeah, it's so fulfilling watching people change,
Hmm.
watching people have epiphanies. It's my favorite thing next to my children and my dogs are being present in people's epiphanies and guiding that. There is, it to me, no greater honor than being let into somebody's life and let into somebody's vulnerability when maybe they're not used to being so vulnerable, and admitting things to themselves and maybe to me that they really didn't admit previous, and now here they are, uh, talking to themselves with some radical honesty for the first time in their lives of like, this isn't working for me. And my family hates me right now. What can I do about this? And so I don't take that lightly, ever, 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 ever. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I would say, I'm sorry, my light keeps going off and I have no
That's
idea
okay.
why. So I
No
apologize.
worries.
I'm sorry, Stacy. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I would say that you're gonna come into contact with people that that agree with your coaching, that don't agree with the coaching, that support your coaching, that don't support your coaching. The bottom line is you need to continue to serve those people that need the coaching, right? And the world is filled with millions of people, and sometimes they don't know what they don't know, right? And it is our uh, role as a coach, whether you being a transformational coach, me being a spiritual, revivalist. That's what I'm calling my spiritual revivalist coach. Bottom line is that you will always meet people that will be engaging with the coaching, and then there are people that will not be engaging. And the ones you want really are the ones that are ready to be served, be helped. And I'm willing to serve. So and I know I'm new to coaching, which is fine. I don't That doesn't scare me. I just want to make sure that I serve people well. That's it. I serve people
Yeah.
well because I know the abundance or the blessings are going to come regardless. They're going to come.
And it's not always about monetary abundance, right? I mean, I have an abundance of support being able
Mhm.
to coach you guys on a weekly basis. I have an abundance of support working for, contracted with the business I am in order to be integral in your launching your career. Like that, I might not be able to pay my light bill on that, but man, that sure fills me up with some gold, right? And I just love it so much. And I've definitely made some, I know, lifelong friends in this last year and a half that I've been coaching full time, that I'm not going anywhere. And I know you
Yeah.
guys aren't going anywhere either. And that is just worth its weight for sure. My friend Kip said, I love hearing about the differences in negative self-talk versus gut wisdom. I think it's a hard one to work through sometimes. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely it is, Kip. Absolutely. Annette, talk a little bit more about negative self-talk versus gut wisdom.
Yeah, it's just, sometimes you have to go, not sometimes, go with your gut feeling. Your gut feeling is totally different from hearing a voice in your head or, constantly repeating the same stuff that is untrue, right? It's really going by. It's like I was thinking, when I was getting ready for this afternoon for this live, I was thinking, it's like when you're driving down. Okay, where I live, I'm surrounded by farmland, right? So there's these little roads that have like these little dips, like these little trenches, right? And I remember driving one night and it was really, really dark. And and the deer, God bless them, they just jump out. They don't care who you are, that you have, a car that, that they can destroy. And I'm driving down the street and I'm thinking, I am lost. I have no idea where I'm going. Where am I? Right. And
Mhm.
my GPS is not working. I don't know what's wrong with my GPS. And then I can hear, or not hear, but feel this gut feeling saying, you need to go down, just keep going down here and make a right, right? But then I also have this talk in my head. It's like, you're going to get lost. You're going to get lost. You're going to get lost. But my gut is like, no, go down this road. At the end, make a left. So what did I do? I followed my gut, not that voice that kept saying, you're going to get lost if you continue. You're going to get lost. So there is a difference, and
Yeah.
that battle can be at the same time. It's you really listening to that gut feeling, because it will never steer you wrong. Never, ever,
No,
ever.
for me, it's if it's the same voice that is in there day in, day out and just wreaking havoc, it's still your anxiety. But if it is a quiet knowing and
Hmm.
it's not there all the time, your gut doesn't talk to you all the time, your intuition doesn't talk to you all the time. But if it's just a quiet knowing that's not frantic, that's not filled of anxiety. If it's just chill,
Right.
to me, that's your intuition. That's your
Right.
intuition for sure. And I know you're a woman of faith. You
Yes.
know, I'm more spirituality.
Yes.
But what we agree on is the collectiveness of our consciousness
Correct.
and the collectiveness of everybody being connected together, whether you call it a soul, a higher consciousness, you know, whatever that is.
Mhm.
And so I think you'll agree with me when I say that your intuition actually is coming from those before you, the wisdom, the collective consciousness that exists in all of us. And
Mhm.
so intuition exists in all of us. And
Absolutely.
if you're quiet enough, you
You
can
can hear it.
cultivate it
That's right.
and you can hear
That's right.
it.
You can hear
Yeah,
it. That's
but
right.
it's a whisper and it's just a quiet knowing versus that, yeah, da, 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 da. If it sounds like a circus, it's your negative self-talk 1000%.
Yeah. So one of my favorite quotes in the Bible is "Be still and know that I am God." Right. So that goes for us. Be still, because the Spirit of God, or your inner intuition, your inner wisdom, it speaks to you. Right. It speaks to you, and also that inner spirit, that inner wisdom, also gives you strength when you need it the most. Right. So you really need to know when to tap into that strength that you have in there, right? And some people don't know how to tap into that strength, right? So that's where my coaching comes from. I teach you, I give you those tools, how to tap into that inner strength that you hold within you, and remove those negative thoughts that it's just nonsense. Just nonsense. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. And it's nonsense that isn't yours.
that isn't
It's
yours.
nonsense that was given to you when
Correct.
you
Whether
were 0 to 5,
that's right.
0 to 7.
Hmm.
Um, and it wasn't meant for you, but because our brains are sponges at the time, we just soak it up and say that it's for us and say it's ours. But it isn't true. It isn't true.
Yeah,
What's
absolutely.
what's one of your favorite like modalities or exercises that you like to do with your clients?
For me, I can tell you, like, the first session I would have is like kind of just figuring out, what are those negative thoughts? Like write those down. Let's write down some of your negative thoughts, right? And then let's talk about switching those negative thoughts to affirmations, because the word, again, I'm going to go into the spiritual side. The word I am, God says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. So the word I am are affirmations. You are connecting to that inner power. I am beautiful. I am loving. I am calm. So those are some of the things that I start to teach, at least in the first session. Is, write down those negative thoughts you have. Let's talk about it in a group, because my sessions are group sessions. Let's talk about it in a group. And then let's talk about I am, right? And then there's also some journaling, and some other modalities that I use in the coaching program that will get people out of that negative mindset, that those negative thoughts, into when they see the negative thought coming, it's automatic that they switch it around and not connect to that negative thought. Just
Yeah,
release.
yeah, yeah. I love that part. I love that part. Um, Talk about why you prefer group coaching over one-on-one.
Because I believe, one-on-one, there's no problem with one-on-one, but I
Mhm.
believe
No.
when there is community, when there's let's be honest. Do you want to don't you, How do you feel when you get into a coaching space and there are 20 women on the screen, and they all are there to connect with what they're looking for, right? They're looking for something specific. And they see a lot of other women, different sizes, colors, shapes, and they're like, wow, that person is experiencing maybe some of the things that I am experiencing. And when you break out in groups, right, you get to talk to them, and you'd be surprised the connections you have when you sit down and talk to someone one on one, in meaning in the breakout rooms. So I
Mhm.
think for me, group is because it's community. It's it's really connecting. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite thing about the group is the group becomes my co-facilitator, and you've seen this in action for a year now. Um, so when you've got introverts and extroverts all mashed together,
Mhm.
and an extrovert doesn't mind asking a question or sharing or whatever, then if the introvert has the same question or has felt the same way, but they don't want to speak up, that extrovert just did it for them. And
Correct.
not only in that, but it also allows that extrovert to be normalized, to be like, oh, I'm not the only one
Mhm.
that has, felt like this, thought like that, afflicted by that, whatever. And so it's the normalization and the group being a facilitator, a co-facilitator with me, that's my favorite part. Because, and again, it's the connection and the community, for sure, for sure, for sure. I don't think we've got enough of it in the world, especially after COVID.
Oh,
Community is definitely rebuilding after 3 years of us being in our houses like some little hermit person. Um, so let's talk about this amazing workshop that you and I are doing on Saturday. I'm so super excited. It's her workshop, y'all. I'm just along for the ride. So I'm going to let her tell you about it a little bit more than me. Go ahead.
yes. So the workshop is called Slay Your Purpose, and the workshop will be for it's this Saturday, October 14th, and it's at my time. It's 2 o'clock, and Stacy's time, I believe it's 10.
11,
Correct? Yeah.
11 a.m.
Oh, 11. Sorry, 11.
Yeah, that's okay.
And it's it's called Slay Your Purpose, and really it's just an hour of us getting together and going through some of, I'm going to say, some of the like a session part, a part of my session of my program, and getting you guys engaged, and seeing if seeing how you can remove those negative kind of thoughts and energy into switching into positive. So that's happening, and you can, if you're interested in joining us on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 Pacific, I guess Pacific time, you can go ahead and right there where it says register at purpose-driven-queen-podcast@gmail.com. Just go ahead and shoot an email that you're interested, and a Zoom link will be sent to you. And yeah, it's going to be fun because it's going to be Stacy and I, some breakout rooms, and we're just going to do our thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, it's free, it's complimentary.
Mhm.
Come ask questions. And right now, y'all, if you want to ask questions, you're more than welcome to drop questions in the comments, or any comment that you want to share with us. We love it. We love that community, that connection. And so Saturday, it's going to be a lot about silencing those inner critics. And how do you, first of all, recognize them? Because that is the hardest part. Catching them, recognizing them, that's actually 50% of the battle.
Yeah.
Changing it is not the hardest part. It's actually catching it. So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to deliver some information from my programs. But this is Annette's show. I'm just along for the ride. So I hope you guys would come. Again, it's at purpose-driven-queen-podcast@gmail.com, or just say, I want to register right here in the
Yeah.
comments, and
Yeah.
we'll shoot you the Zoom link in your DMs. Or if you just want to DM because you're not comfortable with public seeing it, that's absolutely fine as well. We're not broadcasting it. It's not going to be streamed. It is just going to be within the confines of a protected Zoom room. And if you have any questions about it, drop them below. We'll happily answer them. Annette, what do you want people to know about life right now for you?
Wow, life is constantly moving for me, even though I got to say that I face a lot of even now, I face a lot of trials, and things that just shock the crap out of me, to be honest with you. I'm human. I sit in the feelings, I get them out of my system, and I'm in motion. And even though I'm going through some heavy, heavy stuff right now, what I love about the resilience in me is that I pick myself up and I keep it moving. I do not stop for anyone, not even for myself. And there are days like yesterday, I decided to take a self-care day because I wanted to be prepared for today for this live stream. I wanted to be my 100% and not 80 or 70. I wanted to come here being ready, and I had to take a what I call a mental day yesterday, which is great. So life is going to throw us some really big snowballs, big snowballs. And we just have to be ready to melt those suckers down and just keep moving, and not let anything or anyone stop us from achieving, our goals and our desires for a life of abundance. Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Tell the people where they can find you other than right here on Facebook, obviously.
Well, you can find me on Facebook under I have Purpose Driven Queen podcast, or under Blessed One. That's BLESID 1. Also, you can find me on Instagram, also Blessed One or Purpose Driven Queen, and here on Facebook, you'll find me. I I technically always will post things about, inspirational things or things, to get people moving out of the negative space. So, but that's where you can find me, and I also have a podcast, which will be starting soon again, because I had to stop because of, health reasons. But now that I'm feeling much better, my podcast is going to restart, and it's called Purpose Driven Queen Podcast.
I mean, I don't know that you had guests before, but I am guesting now. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. I'm guesting. I'm just claiming my spot now. I've got the cool microphone. I need to guest.
I love it.
It's so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. My friends, thank you for your time today. Man, I love spending time with you. I love spending time with Annette. I hope you got value out of this. Consider coming Saturday. Easy, no hard sell. We just want to help. And if you want to continue the journey after that, beautiful. And if not, beautiful. But come, do this for yourself.
Yeah.
Because what I know to be true from my niche is that we do not put ourselves first. And we always put everybody else in front of ourselves. And that actually leads to damaging ourselves down the road, damaging our relationships with ourselves, with our loved ones, with our children, with our spouses, with our family. And it just isn't worth it, my friends. It just is not worth it in the end. So I hope you come. Go register down below. You can see it, Purpose Driven Queen podcast at Gmail, or comment right here and we will shoot you the link. Again, it's 11 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. That means 1 p.m. Central and noon Mountain for everybody. If you want to go to Hawaii, that's 10 a.m. or let's see, that would be 8 a.m. Hawaii and 10 a.m. Alaska. There's no reason in the world for any North American people not to come. And it will be a safe space, because if I know anything about Annette and myself, is
absolutely
paramount.
Absolutely.
It's a safe space. So I hope you guys will come and enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Annette, mwah, thank you for coming. I cannot wait till Saturday. And be where your feet are, my friends. I love you.
Love you too.
And I'll see you soon.
Okay, bye, everyone. Bye.